Karibu mheshimiwa.
Nashukuru sana. Jamani, kampuni haiendi vizuri. Mwaka jana tumeshindwa kabisa kufikia malengo tuliyoweka. Hata momentum ya timu imepungua sana. Naomba tupate ufumbuzi wa hili kwa sababu sitaki tufeli tena mwaka huu.
Mheshimiwa, mimi nina wazo. Nafikiri wafanyakazi wote tunahitaji training ili tuongeze mauzo kwa asilimia zaidi ya 40, ufanisi wa kazi na momentum ya management.
Okay, nafikiri ni wazo zuri.
Baada ya kufahamu dunia inataka nini, Mikono Speakers International tumejitokeza kuokoa makampuni mengi kwa kuanzisha utaratibu wa kutoa mafunzo katika makampuni na taasisi mbalimbali ili kuwawezesha wafanyakazi na kampuni kwa ujumla kuendana na kasi ya sasa na mapinduzi ya viwanda. Mikono Speakers International tunatoa mafunzo ya aina zote, tailor-made training na mafunzo yanayoendana na kalenda yetu, aina zote za technical na management training. Wasiliana nasi kwa 0717 109 362 au email sales@excel.co.tz. Mikono Speakers, join hands to transform life.
So obviously, the first thing everyone does is go to Google and look up definitions of branding. So I came up with a couple of definitions. So, searching for branding, the first definition I got was a process in which a mark is burned onto a living human being or an animal. Of course, that's not what we're looking for. Then the other definition I got through was promotion of a brand for greater awareness, right? Now let's take a pause here. You can see I'm holding something. It's cola, right? And I'm sipping my cola. How many of you know what this is inside there? No? Let me have a sip, maybe you can see. What do you think it is? If I were to tell you that this is Coca-Cola, would you believe me? By seeing. Would you believe me that this is Coca-Cola? Are you sure? You would, yeah? So now, it's Pepsi-Cola. Most of us know branding in this way, visually. When you talk about branding to people, they think advertising, they think logo, they think tagline, they think slogans, they think, how should I make my company appear everywhere? But it is actually the way your customer perceives you. Before we talk about branding for success, let's talk about branding. So branding is actually about the way your customer perceives you. So how do we get a brand? What do we need to do to get a solid brand, a good brand? I believe there are three things. Number one, it's about your beliefs. As a company, as an individual, as a group of people, you have to be in line with your beliefs. You have to know your beliefs. Because it is your beliefs that drive your passion. You believe that you can change the world, and you can. With that belief, you take on your passion and try and change the world one step at a time. The second thing you need to know is your core customer. We cannot be everything to everyone, but we can be everything to someone. Know who your core customer is. And finally, it's about uniqueness. Find out what you do the best. Find your differentiating factor. Find why would someone work with you and not someone else. So three things: your beliefs, your core customer, and your uniqueness. That makes your brand. Now let me show you something. Maybe you'll say, I'm just talking about this because I'm talking about this. But let me show you what I just spoke to you about, which is the beliefs, core customer, and uniqueness in some of the world's best brands. Now we all know what this is, right? Nike. We all know Nike. let's look at their mission statement. So Nike's mission statement states to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And they go further. They say, if you have a body, you're an athlete. Now see how they're not talking about their products here. You can hardly see any of their products in that. Their mission is very simple, to empower, inspire, and to innovate for athletes. And then they go further. They say if you have a body, you're an athlete. That's what Nike believe in. And you've been seeing how Nike come across in everything that they do to empower almost everyone on the planet. That's about their belief. Let's move on. How many of you know what this is? So you know. Does anyone know what this is besides you? So that's the logo of Ferrari. Now why am I showing you that? This is the second example, core customer. Know who your core customer is. We would all love Ferrari, we probably all know Ferrari, right? But you need to fit a set number of criteria to have a Ferrari. Ferrari don't even advertise like Nike do. Ferrari know who their core customers are. Not everyone can afford a Ferrari. And they don't want everyone to afford a Ferrari, right? So they are very much in line with knowing their core customers. So that's the second thing. And finally, we all know what that is, right? Apple, right? So Apple are known for their uniqueness of simple, straightforward designs and software. I mean, Apple didn't really reinvent the wheel. All they did was take something that was already existing, made it amazingly simple and easy to use. So they're very aware of what they're unique about, and that is why there's a huge fan following on Apple. So with that, we know about our belief. We know we need to know our beliefs. We know that we need to know our core customers. We know that we need to identify what is unique about us so that we build that brand that we want to. So moving on. What is branding actually? And can we brand for success? I came up with, I was looking up on the internet and looking at how people think of when they want to do branding. And I came across this really cool cartoon. And, it looks like it's a boardroom. There's a number of executives sitting there, and probably the creative director or marketing person showing them what to them branding would be. And one of them goes, say, it's a modern yet timeless, minimalist yet evocative, grounded yet elevated, but most of all, it says what we are full of. And they're all looking at the logo. So, I asked people, what was branding to them? And I've got various answers. Some of them are right up there: marketing, advertising, management, image, trademark, logo, and a lot of these. While all of this is true, but this only covers part of what branding really is, which is the communication part. When you advertise, when you go out there and show yourself, you're actually communicating who you are to the market, creating awareness to your customers. But branding is more than that. Specifically, successful branding is more than that. And that is about experience. Branding takes what you're saying, or what you want to say, what you believe in, and then actually delivering it. So, what I'd like to do is, I was asked to present branding for success, and I asked myself, how do I brand for success? How would I brand for success? And what I want to do is share with you the three processes that you can adopt to brand for success. And a lot of us forget that branding is, like I said, not about communication, but out beyond that. So, branding to me, for success, is a continuous process of building, marketing, and delivering. And I'll show you what these three processes mean in further. The first one is about building. So I'll take an example of life. And I'll take an example that when you're young, you have a phase that you build. Like, I mean, our companies go through the same phase as life. So when you're young, you go out there and learn. You learn on the field, you learn from experts, you go to school, you fail faster, you know. You want to learn the processes, you want to learn the rules, you want to know how to break them if you want to, you know. You want to shadow someone who's already done things. This is what I called the making phase. This is a process. As a business, when you start up, you start learning things. How do you do things the right way? What do you need to have to be delivering things the way you say you would? So it's the build phase. The second phase is what I called the market phase, which is the creating awareness. So let's say after you've built for a few years, you've gone to university, you've gone to school, you've learned from professionals, you've spoken to experts, you've failed faster, and now you're a little bit more confident of what you've learned and you want to apply. So here's where you get your first customer maybe. And maybe you're doing that service or delivering the product for free because you want the customer to tell you how it is or give you some honest feedback. So this is the phase where you take everything that you've learned and go and deliver and market and create awareness and speak to people and speak to friends and speak to industry experts. Do things and show people that, look, I've done this and I can do this. Now remember that the build phase and the market phase are something that are constant in our lives. We never stop building, we never stop talking, we never stop creating awareness. These two phases or processes are constants of our life. We must always build, which means we must always learn new things. We must always market, which means we always must create awareness. I'm not the same I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I have more gray now, but I know a little bit more than what I knew 5 years ago. I still don't know a lot more, but it's a constant process. So the final phase, which is what I call the delivery, this phase or this process is built atop the previous two processes. So when I was asked to talk about branding for success, it's basically three simple things that we need to do or a company needs to do. Number one, build. Number two, market. And number three, deliver. Deliver it the way you say you would. When I gave you this example of me holding a Coke in a brown bag and then revealing a Pepsi, you know, the only reason you know Pepsi or Coca-Cola is because of what it makes you feel. Remember, we will all forget what people did for us, but we will not forget how people made us feel, or how a particular product made us feel, or how a particular solution or service made us feel. So if you deliver right after building and marketing, then your brand is already working for you. With that, I say thank you so much for listening to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you Charit Githinji. Can you put your hands together while she's coming on the stage? Karibu sana.
So I'm here to talk about social media strategy and the purpose of social media. The previous speaker spoke about branding for success. And you can see how interrelated these are. You can't brand and forget about social media. They go hand in hand. Building a brand also goes hand in hand with what we do in terms of social media. So whatever it is that you post on your social media platforms, he was talking about branding in terms of personal branding as well as corporate branding. The same applies for social media. Whatever it is that you post on Facebook, whatever it is that you post on Twitter, really talks about you as a brand and has a correlation with your employer. For instance, I work for Tandaza Africa. That's my company. If I go to my Facebook wall as Charity and I post something negative, does it affect my business? It does, isn't it? So in your own individual capacity, whatever it is that you post on your social media platforms, remember that it affects your work relation. Remember that it affects the way people perceive whichever company you work for. So it's not only you as an individual, but also the companies that you work for. So the main purpose of social media planning is, one, to build your brand. Two, to change the perception or to maintain the perception that people have about you and your brand. And for this, you will see not only brand loyalty, but also increased sales, because you relate with somebody. Very interestingly, yesterday, and Scholastic, allow me to share this with the rest of the people. Yesterday, I wrote on my Facebook wall, I was looking for a company that can manage and monitor social media for Hewlett-Packard for 2 days. And Scholastica happened to be here. So she saw what I wrote on my wall and immediately sent me the contacts for Mobi8. So is that an increment of sales through social media? I got sorted out in terms of what I needed, but Mobi8 got a client through social media. And not directly, because it is indirectly. She happened to be here in the training yesterday. So she saw Mobi8 and she sent to me the contacts for Mobi8. You see how that relates? Yeah? That's very simple. This happened yesterday. So it's not like hearsay. And it happened right here. Okay? So it leads to increased sales volumes and obviously also builds a perception for your brand. Okay? Now, is social media important in promoting your brand? Do you think it's important? Very, very important. And it's not only the millennials that people keep on talking about, the 18s, 20s, 25s. No. Even for the, how can I put it? Even for the older wine like us, we still are on social media. Isn't it? You're on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is also part of social media. A lot of information right now is shared through WhatsApp. True or not true? Yeah, a lot of businesses, we have a lot of business forums, a lot of business groups on WhatsApp. So it's not only Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram, but we now have WhatsApp, which is really big. So a big yes, this is important not only to the millennials who mainly interact on social media, but personal and corporate brands, okay, employ team members to take care of their social media. So we have companies that employ people to take care of their social media aspects in the business. Because that's the way they build their brands, number one. Remember, he talked about building a brand, isn't it? And also building a perception of your products. It's through social media. Okay. Now, looking at statistics in January this year around the world, whereby we have a total population of over 7 billion people. Okay. Internet users are more than half the population in the world. Okay? And active social media is about 3-point-something billion people. And most of them is through the mobile, the gadgets that you're holding. How many times do you look at your phone in a day? How many times do you look at your phone in a day? How many times? Many times, isn't it? If there was a cure, Lancet Laboratories, if you can do a research and come up with a cure for people looking at their phones all the time, I think that would be really welcome. You can hardly keep off your phone. True or not true? So that little gadget is really, really important in terms of advertising, in terms of promoting your brand, because that's where you share information. Yeah? If you didn't have your phone for a day, what would happen to you? Or even an hour? you go into a frenzy, isn't it? You go crazy. If you lose your phone, you go crazy. And that little gadget holds a lot of information. Yeah, so use it and use it wisely. So statistics in Tanzania, a country with 58 million people. I looked at statistics within East Africa, but for this particular reason, because we're in Tanzania and we are presenting to Tanzanian brands, we'll look at Tanzania, okay? So Tanzania has 58 million people, internet users 8.4 million people, and 4.9 million people are active on social media. If you're to reach out even to 0.01% of the 4.9 million people, isn't that a huge reach in terms of marketing yourself or your brand? Mobile connections, 42 million. Like almost everybody in Tanzania has a mobile phone. And not only one, you have one or two, isn't it? Some even have three. I wonder how they manage that. Yeah? I think it's really, really difficult. And 4.3 million are active on social media. Which are your favorite social media platforms? Just pick them out. Which are your favorite social media platforms? LinkedIn? And I will come to that. Let's go on. Sorry? Instagram. Instagram is really, really huge in Tanzania in terms of social media. And I think it's because it's more pictorial, it's more pictures, it's more visual. Yeah? And when you know about the reach in terms of such platforms, I once posted an advert for a comedian who was coming in. And instantly, you know these guys of Basata? You know Basata? Basata came in very quickly and said, you have not paid for these guys' license to come and perform. Where did they get the information? On Instagram. And I'm like, damn it. Yeah, got caught out, but hey, yeah, that's social media for you. So you can see the reach. And they're like, immediately we posted it, we got you. You know, and you have to pay for the licenses and all that. So social media is big. But it was also interesting to go through statistics on Alexa's and see the top websites that are ranked in Tanzania. And looking at top 20, that means when Tanzanians are going online, the most favorite one is google.com, followed by YouTube, followed by Facebook. That says a lot. And then we have Jamii Forums. We are all a favorite of Jamii Forums. It's a social platform. We have Jamii Forums at number 8. Number 9, we have Instagram. Then we have MBET. Are we a betting nation? But that's not unique to Tanzania only. I saw the same in Kenya. I saw the same in Uganda. Yeah, I wonder about that socially in terms of what we are becoming. Are we becoming betting nations who don't want to work hard but want to bet to make money? Okay. Then there's Zoom Tanzania, and obviously Millard Ayo is also there. Yeah, so you can actually see where people go to get information when they Google or when they go to social media. So again, in Tanzania, we talked about the 4.9 million people, which is about 8% of the population who use social media, okay? And 4.3, as I said, on your mobile phone, that's a huge number of people. And if you target them and target them well, then you make some good sales, okay? Looking at Facebook, which is the next very, very important platform, because I think most of us are on Facebook. How many followers do you have on Facebook, for instance? Who can share how many followers they have on Facebook? How many friends do you have on Facebook? How many? 400? Somebody else? 800? Okay, somebody else? 5,000? 1,000? Okay, somebody else? How many? More than 1,000? It's very important for you to have important, good friends on Facebook. Not just any Tom, Dick, and Harry who will post a lot of rubbish on your wall. Okay? I have 5,000 friends, so I can't even accept any more friends. I have followers now. Okay? But then you check again, what are the quality of friends you have on Facebook? So what is the purpose of having your Facebook page? What's the purpose of what you do on Instagram? What's the purpose? What do you post even on WhatsApp? Is it unverified information? Are you posting for the sake of posting? Do you have any results? Like I saw somebody who posted yesterday on WhatsApp, and they said that in Arizona, there's too much heat that even vehicles are melting. That's on a social platform. So quickly I went into Google to check the temperatures in Arizona. And they were nowhere near what they were talking about. So that's unverified information, because that would cause a panic, isn't it? So whatever it is that you post or whatever it is that you forward, please verify. Otherwise you become the carrier of doom, because you'd go into a panic, because if cars are melting, what about human beings? Isn't it? So whatever it is that you're doing on social media must be verified, okay? Now, there's also frequency. How many times do you post in a day? Or in a week? Or in a month? Or in a year? How many times do you post? Once a week? Once a day? 10 times a day? Yeah, there are people who post a lot, and you're like, what the hell? Don't you have anything else to do other than post, other than be on social media? So the frequency also matters. WhatsApp, people post more than once a day. That's why you'll check your phone 110 times. We are posting una forward. Una forward to your other groups. Isn't that what happens? Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, so WhatsApp takes a cup, followed closely by Facebook. WeChat is very common with Asian countries. Then we have YouTube. Then we have Instagram and Messenger. Okay? So in terms of demographics, 76% of adults use Facebook. 51% use Instagram, and these are daily statistics. 42% are on Twitter. 25% Pinterest, 18% LinkedIn. And you'll see later what these demographics mean. So you have both business and social goals. So it doesn't matter that it is your personal Facebook page, but you must have both business and social goals. So for the business goals is brand awareness, thought out leadership, word of mouth, because information flows from one person to the other. Leads, you're there to get leads for your business, and you're there to get sales. Your social goals as a business or as a person is to reach out to as many people as possible, so that if you post something, an advert for an event or for a product that you're selling, you reach out to a lot of people, okay? So it's for great consumption by the people who follow you. You get more shares, you get more likes, you get more retweets, and that grows your fan base, okay? It's for people to take action, okay? And for you to engage in a conversation. Those are the main reasons or the main goals. And you cannot say that I'm setting up a social media strategy for the business and then you leave out the social aspect. They go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. You can't do one and leave the other. Step 2 is to identify your audience. Whom do you want to reach out to? Who is reading what you're posting? Who is seeing what you're posting? And why do you want those particular people to see? When you go out to look for friends, say on LinkedIn, you look at the areas where they are, the professions and stuff like that, isn't it? And those are the people that you request to be friends with. I meet people who say, yes, I know you. I've never seen them. Where did they see me from? Social media. Okay? So identify your audience, the people that you want to reach out to in terms of building your products or building your brand, building awareness. In terms of groups, say on Facebook, you go to you reach out to groups or you join groups and forums and platforms that are related with your business. Related with your business. Keep off the social bit. The social bit will bring itself. But main focus is business. Okay? Depending on your product service, does your target audience interact on social media? Obviously, everybody interacts on social media. Research on platforms utilized by your targeted market. So you look at your targeted market and see, where will I find them? Will I find them on Facebook? Will I find them on LinkedIn? Will I find them on Twitter? Although we look at Twitter differently, because Twitter is more a customer service kind of thing, rather than advertising. Yeah? Will I find them on Instagram? On Instagram, you'll most finally get the millennials. True or not true? On Instagram. On LinkedIn, you'll get the professionals on Instagram. On Facebook, you'll get a mix of everyone. On WhatsApp, you'll get everybody you want to get on WhatsApp. Okay? Step 3, research your competition. Say Coca-Cola and Pepsi, we had a great, when he was drinking his cola and then brings out a Pepsi, those are two competing brands. So when Coke wants to go on Instagram, wants to go on social media, they should research and see what their competitors are doing. Same case, if Hotel A wants to go on social media, say Serena wants to go on social media, they have to look at what Intercon or Hyatt is doing on social media. So what platforms are they using? What's their targeted audience? So research on your competition. Carry out a competitive analysis and carry out some social listening to know what your competitors are doing. Social listening is when you engage with people and you hear what they're talking about the different brands on a social aspect. Step 4, carry out a social media audit. Carry out an audit on social media. Check out the reach that you're getting to. Is it effective? When you post something, do people engage? When you post a video, do people engage and want to know about that video? Do you also engage with them? Or do you post and leave it and say, okay, let it be? Mtu akitaka comment atacomment. Ama akicomment, you do not respond. Like, love, comment, say thank you. You know, don't just let it be. Engage. So check which audiences engage with your brand. Very critical, very key. Okay? Step 5, set up accounts. Different platforms work differently for your specific brand needs. As I said before, something like Twitter, you use that for your customer service. And Twitter is rarely used. And with Twitter, you can tweet as many times as possible in a day, which is different from, say, Facebook or Instagram. So you'll see how that works later. So set up different accounts for different purposes. Your Facebook page and your LinkedIn page may more or less go hand in hand in terms of the professional aspect, but your Twitter page is definitely different. Okay? Step 6, get inspiration from success stories, create ads and videos. Go to Facebook for Business. You're all aware we have Facebook for Business, right? Are we aware? Hello? We have Facebook for Business. So make use of it. We have Hootsuite that will help you make adverts and nice adverts, short clips that you can post and people can engage with. Okay? Step 7, create a social media calendar. So every month, you can get together, you as an individual, if you're creating your own brand or as a team, and come up with a calendar of what you're going to post. Remember, you have to be very strategic. What messages are you sending out? What are you promoting, for instance? If you're a tile company and you have a new product that has come in, a new specific tile, have a specific calendar and say, on Monday, we're going to post on Facebook, 1, 2, 3, this is what we're going to post. So have a proper calendar. Don't just post randomly. Have a plan. What are we going to post on Instagram? Which days are we going to post? What are we going to post on Twitter? What are we going to say? How are we going to speak to our audience? What are we going to tell them? So it has to be very specific so that at any given time on each and every platform, you are communicating and engaging with people. you are engaging with your audience. And have a team that monitors that. Like now we have an event upcoming in Nairobi, okay? And one of the things that we are doing, it's a 2-day event, but the client wants a team that will monitor the social media for 2 days. And there are people who get paid to do that and get paid quite a handsome amount of money, yeah? So the big brands have seen the need of using or utilizing social media, yeah? But we as other brands coming up, in terms of your own personal brand, you must see the need of coming up with a proper structured social media strategy, even for you as a person. Because when people want to work with you, they go back and research on you. If I want to know about somebody, I always go to social media or to Google and I type in. So when I type in your name, it will take me to LinkedIn or it will take me to Facebook if you're not in the news. If Jamii Forums and Millard Ayo have not covered you or Citizen, it will take me to your social media pages. And I'll get all the information I want to know about you. I can even spend a whole night just going through. Because I do not want to engage with a company or individual that has a tainted brand image. Because in the end, if I work with you and your brand image is tainted, then it affects my brand also and my deliverables. So remember that. Take care of your social media. Step 8, audit your reach. Monitor and adjust. Whatever is not working for you when you do your audits, leave it out. Cut it off. Just like in life. When you do a self-assessment and see this is not working for me, cut it off and do something else. Okay? See what works for you and your audience. And finally, subscribe to things like Hootsuite. They have templates that you can work with, and it's free. They don't charge anything. There are so many online courses that are free of charge that will help you in terms of coming up with good strategies, coming up with good adverts, coming up with good content. And if you don't have time for that, then engage a company that can do that for you, and you pay them. There are very many techno-savvy young people who are ready to work with you and your social media. Yeah? So engage and pay them. Okay? Any questions so far? I can move on to the next. Hello, are we together? I wish there was music here. You'd be dancing on this floor. We need some energy here. Yeah? Next time, Deo, who are the organizers here? Next time, Lawrence, can we have music so that it can lift up people? Not now, not now. Let me not hurry, not now. So creating interactive content. Any brand, be it personal, be it corporate, you have to create engaging content. The information that you post out, you need to engage with your audience, okay? So there must be excitement when they read from you. There must be curiosity. It has to be fun. It's not all, all like uptight and stuff. People don't go for uptight stuff anymore. It's boring. It must have some color, it must have some candor. So an engaged audience is an audience who will like you, an audience who will trust you. And that's a reason why when somebody trusts somebody else, they'll give you business. True or not true? Yeah? You give business to people that you engage with, people that you trust, people that you're friends with. Yeah? I may not see you for maybe 2-3 years, but we engage on social media, so I know what you're up to. You may not see me for 10 years, but you'll possibly follow me on social media and see what is she up to. Yeah? Okay? On camera nowadays, you have programs that you can use and animate. Interactive videos. Okay? And that goes to Twitter, Facebook, groups, Instagram stories. Now you have stories on Instagram, isn't it? So you can use Facebook stories, you can use Instagram stories. That's the way you engage with your audience. You can say maybe once a week. Say you are into motivation and stuff like that, or say you have a passion for the tourism industry, you're going to speak on a topic on tourism, and you invite your audience to come and engage with you. Okay? On Twitter, you could have a Twitter chat, so you can have an hour to talk about anything, and invite your audience to come and, comment, post pictures, and that way, information goes out to other people, and you build your brand. Another thing is tagging. When you post something, when you post content, people tag you, isn't it? Now, when they tag you and it comes to your wall, say to your timeline, why are they doing that? Because they want to reach your audience as well. Others use the hashtags. But sometimes you'll find someone has used so many hashtags, like 10 hashtags. So you end up not concentrating on the content, and you concentrate on the hashtags. So you lose focus completely. Ensure that when you tag or when you use the hashtags, you are only using a maximum of 2. Got that? And the 2 are related to your business or are related to what you're trying to promote. Don't use like 10 hashtags or 15 hashtags. So you see a small message and then a string of hashtags. It doesn't make sense at all. Okay? Share valuable content from your industry. So whatever it is that is valuable, share it out. It could be information. So in the financial sector, it could be news. I do online forex trading, so every morning I go to the news factory. It could be news. So let's say today there's news on the dollar. So I could share that, and people in the financial world may be able to relate with that. So if I'm posting something and I use a hashtag that is related to the financial world, so it has to be related, okay? Then post at the appropriate time. So I'll give you the timings. Facebook is more appropriate between Friday to Sunday. Okay? First thing at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m. That's for Facebook. Okay? Twitter, midweek. At noon, at 5 p.m., at 7 p.m. And B2B is business to business. That's midweek. So if you are talking B2B, business to business, is midweek. B2C, which is business to customer, that's over the weekend. Okay? And weekends mostly late Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday. LinkedIn, Tuesday to Thursday, is when you should post on LinkedIn. And that's between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 5 to 6 p.m. Instagram, Mondays and Thursdays. So remember, when you're doing your schedule or your calendar for your social media, you need to take this into account. Of when you do your postings, the days that you do your postings, and the timings that you do your postings. I didn't do much on Google and Pinterest because a lot of people rarely use Google and Pinterest, Google+. Okay? Facebook and LinkedIn, in terms of frequency, post once a day. So I was telling you, sometimes you find someone posting 10 times a day or 15 times a day. It makes no sense. You lose your audience. They don't even know what to read or what not to read. So Facebook and LinkedIn, just post once per day. Twitter, you can do 15 tweets. You know, Twitter messages are very short, huh? So you can do like 15 tweets per day. So depending on what you're talking about and to engage with your audience. And then you can retweet others. So say you do 8 tweets, and others can be retweets from your networks as well. So it doesn't have to come from you, it can be a retweet. People will still engage with you. Instagram, twice a day. Okay? I talked about hashtags. Use 1 or 2 hashtags. Don't use many hashtags. Create graphics. There are programs, free programs online, Canva, Picasa, Photoshop, that will help you create your graphics. Okay? Share and reshare content that does well. So say, for instance, you post something on Wednesday, and it does very well. You can use the same content the next week. So you can keep on retweeting or reposting content that does well. Okay? Create a Facebook group or host a Twitter chat. That's what I was talking about. You can, invite people on Twitter to discuss something topical, say once a week on Twitter. So you host it, and people come in and listen to you and share with you. Okay? And then on social media, if somebody comments on something that you've written, don't take too long to respond. Respond immediately. Because that's your audience. So if you don't respond to them, that means you're ignoring them. Yeah? It's like me calling you, you don't pick up, you find my missed call and you don't call me back. That's not very nice. So it's the same thing that goes on with social media. Okay, then join forums and pages and share relevant contents. Not about Diamond or Zari or I don't know who. Share something that is relevant to your industry, okay? And then find new followers that are relevant. Not just new followers, but followers who are relevant to your industry or that will help you in your profession as a person. Okay, I'll talk about marketing writing in the 21st century. And for me, it is very simple. Whatever it is that you come up with in terms of content, be authentic. Be authentic. Have a purpose. Why are you writing in the first place? Have a purpose. Have a focus. Be bold. And then write every day. I know writing can be very taxing, but write every day. When you write every day, you get used to writing. Write something small every day, every single day. You get used to writing. Then practice creativity, study your audience, and tell them what they want to hear, not what you want to tell them. Because whatever it is I want to tell you may not relate with you. So target your audience. Look at them. What do they want to hear? Do research on what they want to hear. And then write to them. Okay? So thank you for listening to me, and I'm humbled to have presented this to you.
Now, I did mention to you that the reason why people fail is not because of the resources that they lack. People fail because they don't do. So, it is not what you don't have that limits you, it is what you have, but you don't know how to make use of it. Tell yourself the truth. You are not where you are because of what you don't have. You are where you are because you are not making use of the same exact thing that you have. You are in a sales environment, whereas the other person is making sales and you are whining, you complaining, you giving reasons why you can't sell. But what happened to B? B is selling. So it is not what you don't have. It is what you have, but you don't know how to make use of it. So you understand what you have. You already have it. You've got the power. But what is limiting you? You're not using it. Like we just did this morning. One thing that will change your career in life dramatically and give you that huge advantage that you want is people. That's why you must always pay attention to the people you meet in your life. Yesterday I made mention that the circle of people you keep determines how far you go. Okay, let's prove it now. If you are broke, you are average, just write the name of the 5 friends within your circle. Do it now, let's see. Write the names of the 5 friends you have. You know when I mean friends, you don't think about it, you know them. Just write it down, let's see. I'm going to prove something to you this morning, and then once you leave here, you know where your problem is. So, who has his 5 names ready already? Can I see your hands up? Awesome. Okay, do you know can you please stand, please? Yeah. Now, the thing is this, of those 5 friends of yours, who is more richer, who is more successful? These 2 criteria. Who among your 5 friends are more successful? You or them? One of them is more successful. Than you? Yes. And the rest, what happened? You were more successful than them. Take an average of 1/5. Is that a pass mark? Let's find a way around it. But there are people, because maybe you are the most successful of them all, when you say let's do it, they're like, are you sure? Are you sure we can actually do this? Are you sure? Has it been done before? I don't think anyone has done it before. I don't think it's possible. And then what happened? Your idea gets shut down, and then you remain at that level. Sometimes they don't even like to see you go up. So today, in my presentation on how to build an organizational culture, I'll be emphasizing more on the people factor. When we talk about organization, what comes to your mind? Organization, what comes to your mind? Anybody who wants to try? What comes to your mind when we talk about organization structure or culture? All right, let's hear you. A system in place, fantastic. Any other person, a good try? Any other one? Thank you, Charity. The people within the organization you called software. Fantastic. That's a good one. I've not heard that before. So it is not all about a building. That's not the culture. Organization is, the building is just like something that is putting people together. Like the World Sales Conference. Is it about this building or is it about you? It's you. The World Sales Conference is not necessarily about how it's being hosted here. That's not the thing. The thing is this. It's about you and the result you get after this meeting. I am always too concerned about the result that we get for every opportunity we have to learn. I told you the difference between the genius guy and you is a little thing that that guy knows that you don't know. That makes him the expert, the authority, the go-to guy that everyone runs to. That makes him the powerhouse. It's because there is something, maybe his client base is much more huge. Maybe he's got services that set him apart. That is what distinguishes you. So organization, like you see, there are a whole lot of it. You see Coca-Cola there. You see IBM, whole of it. It is not the name, it is the people. So today, like I said, my focus will be on the people, the behavior, the culture that we form. How do culture affect results? Do you know why? There's a certain way people think which affect the kind of results that they get. There's a certain kind of behavior that once anything can be allowed, that's mediocrity. Once it is allowed, what it means is that anything goes. So what do you expect? You get below par results. Your company, if you are a business owner, is where it is right now because of the kind of certain standards that you have accepted. Do you believe that? Standards. That's too far. The way you are being addressed is just about the standard you have set for yourself. Do you believe that? That was why yesterday I told you, dress the way you want to be addressed. That's the first principle. So there's how you go, there's how you talk, there's how you carry yourself. And everybody just sees you as, don't mind that guy. You don't take him seriously. But there is how you appeared, and everybody just wants to hear you. People want to see what you have to offer. So now, organizational culture is this. They are sets of standards. They are norms. They are beliefs. I take the word of my sister here. It is the software, meaning that the laptop can't work without the software. Your organization cannot give 100% delivery if the software is cack. So what guarantees that you deliver exceptional service? Not talking about mediocres, I'm talking about top-notch service. What stands you out in the marketplace? I'm sure you know. I hear you talked about social media. That's the drive. That is the future. Whether you believe it or not, that is where the future is going. In fact, you're even talking about Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of those. When people have suddenly moved into artificial intelligence, don't you know that if you chat too much with other cell phone number, check your WhatsApp, check your Facebook, you begin to see suggestions of the person you were chatting with. You don't even have anything about him. You suddenly start getting some kind of suggestion. You know this person. And now, there is this artificial intelligence that also recognizes picture. And that's a new add-on that Facebook just brought in, that if someone, like any of you here, decide to take my picture and post it somewhere, I get notified. It's called artificial intelligence. Now, what am I saying? The point is the future, that's where it's heading. When we talk about culture and change, when we talk about why people resist change, because that's the problem in most organizations. So, culture is this. Includes organization's vision, values, norms, systems, symbols, language, assumptions, beliefs, habits. All of these are what makes up an organizational culture. Back then in the bank, when a client stands in front of us and we don't want to speak the language the client will hear, we have a code and eye contact. We've got a sign we could just give to ourselves, and then the other person knows what I'm talking about. These are behavior, norms, allowed. If you are in the medicine or law, engineering, these people have certain terms that they speak. Is that true? Yes, for themselves. So a layman like you might not really understand if the lawyer is busy with all his terminologies. You will be lost. Okay, let's not dwell like this. My point is this. We are talking about assumption. We're talking about people. We are dealing with beliefs. But the ultimate thing that every organization, whether it's a one-man show or it's a large corporation, is after, it's about results. That's why I'm result-driven. So I say I'm powered by your success. Don't tell me you had a good presentation. Fine, I know I always do. I know, thank you. But the point is this. I had a good presentation. Show me your result. Because you are not lacking in the idea. You know, but you are not doing. Yesterday was loaded with sales tips, become the expert, strategy to stand out. This is what you can do. How many of you went back home to decide to make notes on how you can actually approach your sales tactics, how you can actually approach your service after yesterday's session? Maybe if I ask 1, 2. The rest just kept the book. So it's a habit that has become a norm. Some of you didn't even write until I asked you to start writing. The thing is this. It is not what you don't have. It is not that you don't know you can close deals. It is not that you don't know you can become exceptionally outstanding. You know you've got the clue, but you were not willing to take the first step. And maybe if you tried, you once failed. They laughed at you, and then what happened? You go back. That's what is keeping a lot of people. So assumption is, what is it you are assuming about your company? Yesterday I was chatting with a young guy with a big corporate. He says they are fine with what they do, but they discover because they are the one that relates directly with their clients, the policies of the company do not comply with what is available right now. So when you interface with clients, they're like, yeah, we want this, we want this, we want this. But the company says, this is our stand. So the point was this: how do I convey this message? How do I help to initiate the change? It's about a belief. It's about a thinking. If you don't value your client, if you've never known what it means to get exceptional service, have you ever been to a business, maybe outside of yours, and you were well treated? Have you ever had that kind of experience? Different from what your business offers. You got something exceptional out of it. How does that make you feel? So you need to go back home and think about your business and what you are doing. So people really need to think how. But you know my assignment today is to challenge your thinking. My assignment today is to help you get the optimal results. If you really want to get top 100% result in your business, can I see your hand up? If that is your aim, I want to know who I'm speaking to. You want to get exceptional result, is that? Great. Why cultures matters? We've already talked about this. The assumptions affect the behavior, and then it affects the result that we get. Let's just say, if manager is not there, you know, in this big corporation, very big ones, the people at the lower level, or let's say the branch level, they behave just like anyhow. And then when you hear that the regional or the national president, CEO, founder is coming to your branch, everybody sits up. Have you heard something like that? When they say the boss is coming, everybody acts nice. Everybody becomes outstanding. That day there will not be a pin on the floor because the service will be so clean. But the point is this: must the boss be there before you give 100% delivery? So you see where the mind is. I need to challenge you. In between organizational culture and you, here is what happened. You need to understand why. That's why one of the things I tell people, don't work for money, work for career. When we're talking about coaching or consulting for companies, CEOs, we advocate, recruit people that not necessarily are motivated with money or by money, but people who wants to grow a career. People who believe, you know why? There has to be a link between the company and the employee. Now, what is that link? The link is what we call Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi. What is in it for me? Everyone wants to understand, why must I give exceptional service in the company? Why must I go out of my way? Sometimes customers even insult you, but why must I keep my calm? Just to still smile and then let it look like we are so immune that we don't even notice insult or those things. Why should I go that extent? You know why? It is because the person understands that there is something for him or her. So in your company, what is in it for you? Why are you there besides the money? What's the motivation? I wrote here, assumptions and beliefs of employee drive behavior. You know the kind of behavior that maybe a client is misbehaving or comes into your office. You know, we can actually have some aggressive and hard customers. You know that. I'm not telling you that all customers are nice. No. You can have the most difficult one to deal with. Yes. But there is an attitude, there is a behavior in the workplace sometimes. Hey, you? How can you be talking to me like that? Is it because who are you? No, I trained some staff from Botswana Corporation that came. Now it was a coaching meeting. One of the things the lady said, one of them was that sometimes you just have customers that comes there and pour the aggression, transfer aggression from wherever they're coming from and pour it on you. And sometimes they just respond involuntarily. They just give it back to the customer. And then what happens? Yeah, the customer leaves with that bad feelings and you think you come here to insult people. But I told her, when the customer leaves, who wins? You, right? Because you gave it back to the customer in the same measure. But have you thought of the implication of your reaction? Have you thought of how that singular reaction could cost you business? But you know, people at the lower level don't really get to understand this, so they don't care. All they know is that their money is coming at the end of the month. Are you that kind of worker? I got something for you. Now, focus leads to big things. When you are focused in your business, that's where the big things come from. Have you ever asked why? In Africa, when it comes to the Olympic, we know the nations that produce the fastest runner. Do you know them? Which one? Kenya. Which one? Ethiopia. Which again? Jamaica. Have you forget Usain Bolt? Great. Now, these guys, the question is this. Let's listen. Countries with these small numbers, they don't even have maybe sophisticated gym or resources to compete with guys from America and all of those advanced countries. But you know what? Focus can lead to big things. Do you know why? You can't win in all, but you can carve a niche for yourself. You can't, I don't expect you to be so great at all things. No. The market is too busy and it's too highly competitive. You need to find a niche. That's what the Ethiopians guys do. That's what the Kenyan guys does. Do you see them in soccer? Do you see how far they go in soccer, rugby, all of the cricket? Do you see them? But they have carved a niche. And they have retained this for as long as I've been following those lanky people from those countries. They keep standing out when it matters. What does that tell you? Find a niche. Find a niche. Be awesome at something. Maybe you can't really do a lot, but when it comes to customer service, you are the 5-star. You crush it there. In your company, if you're not the boss, let it be known that when it comes to organizing, when it comes to follow-up, when it comes to initiating the call, the meetings, hunting for the client, the cold calls, the closing of the deals, don't be too good at all things. Find, if you can, but fantastic, but I advocate. Find a niche. So when they say, who is going to help us close this deal? Who is the right person to send for this? Your name pops up. That's how you stand out. Okay, focus, I said, leads to big things. How? Let's deal on the people factor. I told you, organization is not necessarily about the building. It's not necessarily about the name you answer. The organization is about you. It is you that drives the organization's mission, values, objectives. Everything that the organization wants to achieve is based on the people that they recruit. So what kind of person are you in your organization? There are these kinds of people, let me tell you. There are people who comes into the workplace, they know their worth, and they know that they can deliver. You don't need to talk about it. Give them the task. They promise they will deliver, and they do exceptionally well in what they say they will do. Awesome. You also do have this kind of guys. They're not really there because they want to be there. They are there because they are waiting for that other company to do the call. So what happens to such people? They're just there passing time. And immediately the call or probably new offer comes, they quit. You also do have the people, maybe majority, who are not sure of why they are there. Now, these kind of people don't even know when recession comes and they are talking about downsizing, dropping. We used to panic those days. I don't tell you I was so... we used to panic. December, that was when my bank do lay off. They pay you your Christmas bonus and tell you goodbye, please don't come back next year. Now, there are people like that. This kind of people, they're not sure. So what happened to their kind of service? Because they lack confidence. Remember, everything rise and fall on confidence. Because they're not even sure of their worth, they don't give in their 100%. If you are an HR person, be mindful of who you recruit. That was why I said, try to align the vision of the company and the person you are bringing in. How do you align? Make the person see what is in there for the person. Ask why you are coming into our organization. What are you bringing to the table? Is it just to be out of the labor market? Or you are in to actually add value? What do you call it? Vodacom in South Africa. I'm sure it's in all over most of the African countries and Asia. That callback, I'm sure, I don't know the network you guys use here, but I know there's Vodafone, right? There's MTN, right? Okay. Vodacom. Do you have Airtel? Fantastic. Which other one? All right. Do you know it was a call center agent that came up with the idea of a callback. Did you follow the story? Do you know what happened? It was a call center agent, a contract staff. He wasn't a permanent staff who did a call, and because he couldn't get through to the person, he was called. And when he didn't pick up the call, what do you call missed call? And he didn't have money to call back. So what happened? He just went to his boss. Why don't we just have something in a way that somebody can get back to the person who called you to call you back? That was the idea. If you follow the story, what happened 3 years ago, that guy is a multi-don cognon, what we call a don. He's now a bastard billionaire. You know what happened? 11 years ago, Vodacom and the manager refused to acknowledge his input. But the guy took them to court, even after he was out of the company. Took them to court. Lost it at the first court, went to appeal, went to, those courts, Supreme, and then all of them keep upholding what was said at the lower court. And then he decided to try his last option, and that was to go to the one we call the Constitutional Court. That is the highest court in South Africa. So what happened with this young man? The case was analyzed. It was his idea, not the manager, because what happened was the manager was like claiming, but he came out to be honest because he has even retired, to say yes, he suggested it and this and that. You know what? Concord ordered Vodacom to pay this guy. It was in so many numbers that I just can't tell you all. But if you hear it, you will sleep. He's 11 years later, this guy is a multi-billionaire. When he was asked, the Concord ordered the company to pay him from, I think, 2003, when that idea was actually implemented, till 3 years ago. And a new contract, he will be paid royalty for every revenue that comes in, I think, per annum. The point is he was a mere staff, maybe like some of you. I say this because you need to get to the point where you were not just working for an organization for working's sake, but you were working for value you can also bring in. That leads me to something I want to share with you now. Is it not working? You are accountable for your own success anywhere you find yourself, but that's not the point. What does your employer really want? Policies are not set to discourage you from working. Policies are not actually set to make you not to give in your best. Sometimes they're there to probably guide against some certain things. You just can't give an overdraft because you have a brother who promised he will pay back. How? Simply because it's your brother, let's give it to him. So sometimes some policies are there, but the thing is this, what does your employer really want? See what they want. They want value and asset. Do you agree with this? Say hi. If you agree with this, say hi. They want value. People want who is bringing value into the system. And I told you about the kind of values we have. We have the intrinsic value. That is what separates the Lexus car from the regular Toyota Camry or any other brand. The Lexus is strategically positioned. They don't go the same amount because of the value they place on the Lexus. So your employer wants you to bring in value to advance the company, value to increase profitability. That's the ultimate. Every other thing is just a mere stuff. The most important is what value are you bringing to the table? The value you are bringing, can it help us to crush out our competition? Are we able to become the authority in the market? This is what your employer wants. So next time you are applying for work and you need something, think of the value you are bringing to the table. Now, look at two types of value we have. We have those with the liability. We have those with the asset value. We all know what liability means, right? Do we? just to be sure. We all know what an asset value is, do we? No. You don't know what an asset is. An asset is anything that helps to increase profitability. Anything that adds to you is an asset. Whatever that leaves you, that one is a liability. It's as simple as that. The money that leaves your pocket is already going for expense. The ones that comes in helps you, keeps you, gives you confidence. So your employer wants these two qualities. Are you learning something? Yes. Are you sure? So what are the three things that can actually give you the greatest advantage? Who wants to stand out in his career? Can I see your hand up? You really want to stand out, to be the go-to person. The point is this: your skills, the standards you set, the discipline. These are the three things that set you apart. This thing makes you the expert in your field. But I do get asked most of the time, but how do I improve my skills? How do I set standards? How do I become more disciplined at what I do? Remember, it is those norms, the routines of every day, they are the ones that forms the habit that you suddenly find yourself. Why you can't wake up in the morning, why you can't be in the office early, why you just can't deliver exceptional service, why is it you can't close deals? What happened? The habits, the little routines we do every day, the things that made us not to see reading, learning as an important factor to growing our career, growing our business. Those things, why you cannot enroll for a new program. I know you've got the degrees. I know you've got all the PhD, but are you improving yourself daily? Because you don't see importance in these little things. That's why you are just offering a below par performance. You consume by television. Just get back from work, it's TV all day. Awesome. You are watching people. Those people you are watching are making news so you can watch them, but you just decide to go sit there and watch. So the thing that's going to give you an outstanding advantage, whether in business, as an individual, are your skill sets. There are new skill sets. These days I heard you talk about social media. You know the thing, social media 10 years ago was not a career. But today, PR management, social media is a career. Do you know that? There are new skill sets that are showing up every day that were not there 10 years ago. And I promise you, more new ones are coming. The point is this: as a person, how are you preparing to advance your organization? How are you preparing to set yourself up to become that go-to person? You're not learning new skills. You're fine with the way you are. I told someone yesterday, when the new cell phone or the smartphone came out, be very honest, not all of us knew how to operate it. Did you? Did you know when the smartphone, Apple, we didn't know, we learned. So what makes you think that you can't learn sales if it is skills? What makes you think that you cannot learn problem solving as a skill set? What makes you think that you can't learn exceptional customer service if it is a skill set? What makes you think that you can't learn maybe new language? What makes you think that you can't be social media savvy? You just don't want to learn. These things all fall back here. The way you change is the way you succeed. So the trend in the industry right now is you need to understand, if you really need to build your organization or build yourself, you need to understand what is the trend right now. What is happening in my industry? Yesterday I gave you some tips on how you can actually succeed in the marketplace, whether as an individual. I told you marketing is a factor, right? You must learn the act of selling. I told you people, relationship is another strong factor. And I also did mention branding. the more branded you are, the more people want to do business with you. The more branded you are, the more people go tell their friends about your business. The more branded you are, the more people turn suddenly an evangelist for your service. Word of mouth. So be mindful of the trend. Someone did access to that overhead. What if your competition go out there to go and write whatever against you on social media? Then you have to step up also. Step up, that's the way out. Social media can't never really be too much regulated on what anyone posts. The more branded you are, the more successful you become. The more branded your business is, the more you attract bigger business. Please note from me, being branded doesn't mean making promises you can't deliver. Branding itself is keeping the promise. Do you know or do you agree with that? When you say you were branded, you are simply saying, take me by my word. I would give you exceptionally what I say I would do. That's what it's all about. Now, rule number 2 I need you to understand here, invest in your strength. Remember, I'm dealing with people when I'm talking about organizational change or culture. I'm dealing with you as an individual. You are the one with the change. It is you that need to advance your company. It is you that they see, not the building. So when they say your company is great, when they say this company, wow, the way they treat their clients, so great, it's you they are talking about, not the building. So invest in your strength. That was why I said, please have a niche. Have a niche. Most times I tell business people, do you know how to stay ahead? Every 6 months, reevaluate your strategy. Every 6 months, think about your sales pitch. Do you know why? Buying behaviors are changing by the day. People are getting used to the way you used to call and probably talk to them, pitch them. So what do? Change the strategy. But you know what? The limits only exist where? In the mind. That's why you can't go above where you are, because your mind says it cannot be done. Your mind says, but it's not working in Tanzania. You can be saying it in South Africa. Principles are the same everywhere. There is bureaucracy in corporates, here in Tanzania, up there, anywhere in the world. But what changes is the people and the behavior. The kind of attitude you bring to work. So when they say your company is professional, it is you they are referring to. When they say the service you are offering is exceptionally excellent, it is you they're talking about. When they say the staff of those companies, the way they dress, they look sharp, spot on, it's you they're talking about. When they say, wow, which bank, which company would you choose? They will say, that company. It's you. Invest in intelligence, know how to apply it more actively. Please. I expect you from this conference not to go back the same way you came. So as I wrap up, what will you do? 3 things. Listen to me. 3 things. Please write this. The 3 things you must write now is, I need you to write and look at the strategy that you have. Write 2 ways you can do or approach your job differently. Can you please write that? I'm about to round up for you. What 2 ways can you approach this thing you are currently doing? I need you to write it down. Just as it comes. You know why? When we're talking like this, ideas is flowing in. I know you're grabbing something and your mind is telling you it can be done somehow. I need you to look down, write it down. That's the first way to translate an idea to reality. First thing, put it down. What 2 ways can you do what you are doing differently? The second thing you need to write. What medium? How can I get this thing done? Please write 2 ways you feel you can get it done. The first one was, what 2 ways can you do what you are doing differently? The second thing is, how can you do? So in that how, Do you need people? Do you need do you need to learn new things? How can it be done? Are you writing? Technology. So you need to invest in the how, please. This is how you stay competitive. To invest in your career, lastly, you need a coach. You need coaching. Do you know why? That's why coaching is completely different from someone coming to motivate you. Motivation is like you go into the shower, you know? The water. And then once you go out, you completely forgot what happened. But with coaching, see what happens. You have someone who holds you accountable for every of your action. Now, for instance, you have written 2 ways you can do something differently. You wrote it down. Now you have written again how you hope or you feel you can actually get it done. And then you say, my coach, I need you to hold me accountable to get this done. And then we draw a program of action. And then we start looking at the possibility. That's what coaching is all about. And that's how you grow. Because you can't move from where you are to a new place except you have a new mindset, a new thought sense, a new energy. That's the only thing that can help you. Maybe if you do wake up by, let's say you wake up by 6 a.m. and you want to start waking up early, 5 or 4 a.m., you need a new push. You need a new cause, a new reason why. Are you learning something right now? Can I see your hand up? Are you learning something? Give it to me. Awesome. So the power of coaching is like someone pulling you up. Coaching is something that really helps you to get what you want done. That's the difference between coaching and mentoring. Mentors can anytime he likes. But when it comes to coaching, we have a deal. We have a deal that we want to achieve this result. This set time, we come to an agreement. We look at how we can get it done. Like for instance, if you're not closing sales, you're not good at sales, or you suck when it comes to your company can't even deliver on promise. We have to look at the channels. We have to look at who is responsible. Why are we not living to our promise? And the more we look at it, the more you'll be seeing results. How many of you want to get results that you actually want for your business? Can I see your hand up? Remember what I said yesterday? It is not what you don't have that limits you. It is what you have, but you don't know how to make use of. Do you agree with this? Do you really agree with this? Yes. You were not limited by resources you don't have, money you don't have, school you didn't attend. No. You are limited because even the ones you have not even thought about putting it to work. So as I recap finally, I told you that organization is not the building. Did I say that? Your company is not the name. Did I say that? For you to get, or your business to get that high performance, drastic results, for you to crush in the market, it's you. Thank you so much. Please give your name to him, and then I look forward to talking with you again. God bless you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And you are the witness because you are living in this generation and you see and you have experienced. Back in the days when we wanted to take a family photo or your private photo, especially with the African family, you know, there was that famous photographer who would visit your village once a month or once a week if you are lucky. And you have to be prepared for about a week that the photographer is going to come and take photos for us. So you have to prepare your clothes, you have to prepare your lubricants, your Vaseline. At that particular time we had, it was purely Vaseline actually. And then when he comes, you are ready. But the photo session itself, it will take so long to the extent that when the guy is already gone, you are exhausted. Because you have to stand still and pause. And the guy has to take several steps back and then take one shot. And before he take the shot, he have to make sure that it's a very perfect shot. So please, adjust this way. This is too much. Come this way. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, now smile, smile. Oh, you are smiling too much. A little bit, and then he take the shot. He could not afford taking a wrong shot. How many people remember that? Yeah, so we have a lot of wahengers here. For some millennials, they wondering, what is that? Yes, it was very expensive, by the way, to miss a shot. And the other experience was we had similar pose to the photo. So if it is a family photo and the father or the one who is to be taken the photo, he has the mandate to pick the radio cassette from his house and hold it like this. How many remember that, yeah? Or you have to touch a flower from a distance. I don't know. But, okay, what my point here is things have evolved. And now you can take multiple shots through your phone because of the digital world. And guess what? Kodak ignored that concept. The management could not comprehend what is coming to the future. So when the proposition about digital photography and everything was introduced to them, they never paid much of their attention, and I think they say this is just for the babies. It's the toy. But now it's taking all over the world. It's taking the world. Now, with a smartphone, not only you can talk photos with it. I don't need to talk much because you are the one doing it. You know, you can send emails. It's basically your office. And now it has raised to the other professions like social media consultant, people who can manage your social media. They're paid, by the way, but they're paid so well to manage just social media. So it has created offices. It has helped imagine of new companies like Uber, Taxfire, and the sort. Through your phone, you can do a lot. And now, with the social media again, so many offices now are shifting there. And this has been powered actually by the discovery of the internet. And the internet itself is taking things to the next level. There's now blockchain technology. Things are so complicated there. We don't understand these things, but probably our young kids could, okay? Someone came to my office and shared with me the block, Bitcoin stuff, Ethereum. I was like, what is this? But again, 15 years ago, or like 20 years ago, if you could share with me the concept of M-Pesa, Tigo Pesa, I was like, what is it? How could you pay through numbers? Because you just type in numbers and then someone accepts that as a transaction. There's no fiat that you exchange, the fiat currency. So the world is changing very fast, that's what we must know. And if the world is changing this much, affecting our culture, we as people who are doing sales or are involved in decisions to make sales in our companies, we have to understand where the world is going and how these things affect us. It's very vital. Hello? So it was very important yesterday to look into this field, and we talked several points. I don't have much time to go back because I have a long way to go today. So I want to share with you my little experience about this thing, so-called social selling. After I retired from my from my employment, I had working with 2 banks. For those who were here yesterday, they were trying to bet which one I was giving examples. But I think now, because I'm giving a different experience, I have the mandate to speak the bank. So after coming from Diamond Trust, that was the first bank, and going to Stanbic, then I decided to retire and to become an entrepreneur. One of the things that elevated me to the market very quickly was the social media. So if you don't understand the power of social media, maybe I'm the right person to tell you, because I have seen it. I have seen how people are connected to my business. I have seen how you can leverage your income and you can expand your marketing share in the marketplace. So I have like 4 or 5 accounts on social media with a different platform. I'm in the LinkedIn. I forgot to mention it yesterday. LinkedIn, because a friend of mine said, I checked you on LinkedIn and you are not there. She was checking on Tony Inspirational Talk instead of Anton Novande. So I have LinkedIn account, I have a YouTube account, and LinkedIn account I have more than, I think around 7,000, more than 7,000 connections. And on YouTube, I have more than 9,000 connections. Now, I have another platform, of course, on the same account, with the same channel, or different channel, more than 20,000 subscribers. Why? Because that's where the world is heading. Now, you might fight with the old model. You find a brochure, you print a brochure, you take it to the streets, or you find a PA system announcing about your business. Guess what? That model is gone. It's no longer working. Back in the days, that was a very good ideal. Take the PA system, announce that you'll be having a meeting somewhere, or you have a new product, you want to do product launch, but that model does not work nowadays. Why? Because people are spending more time on their devices. Mobile phone being one of them. Now, before, I want just to go very quickly, but very precisely here. LinkedIn did a study. LinkedIn did a study on social media, especially how it affects social selling. So 85% of my lecture today to be based on the LinkedIn study, which they did this study. And they were talking about the 4 elements or the 4 pillars of how you can elevate or you can take your social selling to the next level. And the number 1 pillar or number 1 element, if you want to create today a social media platform whereby you can have access more in a very professional way, one of the pillars is you have to create a professional brand. You have to create a professional brand. Specifically, I've brought the issue of professionalism because I know 99.9% of you guys here are professionals. Now, despite it being professional, you also need to be social. Remember, the key word here is social. And I have visited corporate accounts, social accounts of these big fishes in the market. Their account sucks. They're not social. So don't be too professional. You will miss the mark. Because remember, to be relevant in the market of Tanzania, I told you 50%, actually not 50%, yeah, 50% of the population in Tanzania is comprised of young people. And 23 million Tanzanians have access not to mobile phones, to the internet. So it has to tell you something. When you want to interact with people on social media, there are some of the elements which are supposed to be very social, and we're going to talk about them later on. So you have to create a brand which is a very professional. Why? Because people trust professionals, aren't we? If a doctor tells you, drink this pill twice a day, it will help you with your diabetes, you will never miss a pill, isn't it? If a doctor says, you have to come tomorrow for a second injection for the infection to go, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter which conference you have, you're going to cancel, I have to see my doctor. Why? Because a doctor is a professional, right? Back in the days, when the radio says, now it's 7 p.m., we all agree. If you say otherwise, we say, your watch is wrong. You have to adjust your watch according to the radio. Because we believe the radio is so professional in terms of time. Are we agreeing with that? You remember that? Yeah, it was that. Why? Because we love to trust professionals. And now, if you create your page in a professional look, then you're going to excel in terms of connectivity. Now, there are several benefits for you. The problem is, what I've visited several people's profile. They fail to complete the whole profile, especially with the LinkedIn. They leave a lot of uncompleted information. they drop up a lot of information. Just fill in the banner, complete. And also, don't just open a social media account and then just leave it there as a souvenir. No. You're supposed to be active. You have to engage yourself. And please post meaningful posts. Again, don't be too professional. There's one company, I don't want to mention the name, when they put their their posts on the social media, I hardly look at it. It's too informative. Especially with Instagram again. Instagram is image-based platform. So you have to reduce the amount of words and put more of the images. But again, you have to see, if you are applying the LinkedIn, then it's a good platform for professionals. And most of the time, people who are there, they are information-oriented people. So when they access the market, the platform, they're looking for information. Yes, you can pour anyhow amount of information that you wish, but also you have to be professionals. Why? Because buyers, they're very educated nowadays. And also they love to buy from the people they trust. We know the struggle that we had with the cold calls. You call a person, he is at ease. He does not know you. And then you are telling all this kind of information that you have. He or she feels very uncomfortable to the extent say, I think I'll call you back. And guess what? They never call back. Okay? So with the social media, if you have established your profile with the customer in mind, how the customer going to feel the test, then the chances are you have the chance to create the opportunity for a customer to become a buyer from you, because now he can trust, basing on your profile, basing on your publications, the posts that you've been posting, he can trust you because they believe that you're professional. But also, strong brands, they show that you're active. You know what you're doing. So if you have successfully opened up a social media account, especially on LinkedIn, you have completed the profile, you have put all the branding, professional branding elements, then the chances are people, they will know this guy knows what he's doing. Are we together? That's the element. That's the meaning of it. So make sure that you try as much as you can to put the very strong professional brand. But also it leads more to inquiries. Why? Because people, they believe that you know something about it. I receive a lot of questions, of queries, including recommendations of how I can help more people with what I'm posting. So that's one of the elements, but also the research has shown that it leads to more effective communication. You know, the cold call, if you call a person, he has so many questions rather than answers. But with the social media, if you text me on social media, I won't struggle answering your question. I will first go to your profile to see who am I dealing with. And then I will come back to the question and start the conversation. And the conversation becomes smooth because I know who I'm dealing with. Let's take a simple example. If I call you, you don't have a true caller. If I call you with a strange number, do you know the reaction that you do? Is it different from if I call you from the familiar number, isn't it? So you call, hello? Is this Anton? Yeah, this is Anton. How can I help you? So, no, this is Jamila. Oh, Jamila! You see, the reaction has changed. Why? Because now you have a full profile of who is calling you. So the research has shown that once you have a professional brand, then the communication becomes very smooth. So you don't want to miss. For those who are here, you have opened up a business and you want to put it on social media, this is one of the things that will help you. And can I drop you a quick suggestion? Maybe I'll forget if I continue. All people who are here, if you have opened a business account or a private account that you want to turn it into a business, don't put it in a private mode. Some people, They are operating with a business perspective, but they put a private mode. Why? If you are posting for your family and for your own limited groups, it's fine. But if you want to reach the masses, don't put a private mode. So if you open a shop, or you have opened a company social media platform, and then you're putting a profile in the private mode, then you're just killing yourself. It's like open the shop, and then you've just locked everything, the access to your shop. That's what is happening. Now, the second pillar that LinkedIn discussed is about you have to focus on the right prospects. Focus on the right prospects. Why? Because over 76% of the buyers, they are ready to identify with the people who have put their role, their function, and their industry. This talks about your profile. It's very, very important. Who are you dealing with? If I open your bio right now, can I quickly tell what do you do in town? And then again, 69% of the sales rep who actually view the profiles, at least 10 of the accounts were most likely to exceed the quota. So the numbers speak by themselves. And if this research has been done, then I'm so sure they knew what they were doing. And I am the living example of what is happening. Another pillar is that you have to engage yourself with insights. Now, almost every social media platform, it will give you insights. For example, my Instagram account, it tells me exactly what kind of people they are following me. So I know what is my clientele. I know what is my base. I know the geographical location of all my followers, the majority of them. I know which photos have impressed people more, which one have made the engagement more. And I think also Twitter does that. And LinkedIn does that. Actually, LinkedIn goes even extra and gives you the impression that has been taken to the third generation. So you have to engage with the insights. These insights are given to you so that you can know exactly what you are doing. Okay? It's not just, this is a business where it's happening. Now, why is it important? Because 64%, I don't know if you guys can see the numbers, but we'll send the presentation after here so that you can take the numbers very closely. 64% of the B2B buyers report that they appreciate hearing the salesmen who provide knowledge or insight about their business. Sometimes you just need to post the information about your business. Educate people. Like Lancet Lab, just educate people on how you can prevent yourself regarding the infections and stuff like that. It's not about our services, come and we're going to check you up. We are having this gig, come and connect with us. No. At least you can educate people on that. I know you do that. I'm just amplifying your example. Okay? So if you're dealing with the tourism, for example, you can educate people on the different types of animals and their behaviors and how they react in the jungle. If you're dealing with cosmetology, then you can just educate people on the cosmetics part of it. Just provide the value. And you know what? Those who are following you, they will trust you that you know something, and next time they're going to buy from you because they know you know. Hello? Are we together? Okay? And the numbers goes like 75%, more than 75% are more likely to get an appointment or an expected sale if you are a member of a LinkedIn group. Now, it has shown itself, LinkedIn is a professional ground. And I'll speak also from other experiences or other platforms. 95%, no, not 95, it's like 75% of my engagement in the business comes from the social selling. Back in the days, it was a referral. People have to refer you because of the customer experience. So if I come to you, if I come to your company, and then you have taken me to Safari, then when I come back, I will say, you know what? Yes, this company, what's the name of the company again? Pango Safari. Pango Safari, they're very good. You know, Pongo. Yes, Pongo Safari, they're very good. The other time I went, the whole logistics were very smoothly. I enjoyed my trip and then I came back. So if you're planning, why don't you choose Bongo Safari? Now that's a 101. But C, you don't need to wait until referrals has been done. Why don't you record the whole adventure and put it on social media? People, they will experience. And you're gonna be shocked on how the sales will increase on your part. Okay? So again, the issue of engagement to your clients. A client has dropped you a question. You took weeks to reply. My friend, that time is gone. Quick. Now, I know some of you are battling right now. I say, social media is just wastage of time. This is for the kids. The same attitude was given by Kodaki. It was the same attitude because they never comprehended what is happening. But I'm telling you, if you involve yourself in the social media, you will find a very beneficial part of it, especially this professional social media. Okay? Another thing that it will help you to discuss about connect with the right insights is about sharing the relevant resources to strengthen your personal connection. Be like a hub. Provide the most important information. Your post should be educative also. If you are in the entertainment industry, yes, keep on entertaining people. But also you can here and there chip in terms of educating people and stuff like that. But my point stays on the education part. Now, stay in the know with the timely content. Always, a social media is a now thing. Thing happen now has to be recorded now. I had a fight with my staff back in my office. They were giving me pictures of the event that has been held like 2 weeks ago. And they found that I was rejecting the pictures. I said, this is irrelevant. Why are you giving me now? You are taking me to the old age. This is not an old age. This is a new age. It's an information age. So the event happens now. It's supposed to be updated now. Mmekuwa na wiki ya kupima damu, then inachukua eti baada ya wiki mbili ndio mnaposti. Umechelewa sana. Do you understand? You had a safari in Christmas from Serengeti. Oh, give a round of applause. Yeah, so we're talking to the right people. So it's a now thing. That's why there is a live streaming. But also give your customers a different of a taste, like a background scene. These are the things that people don't see most of the time. The most important thing, you have to engage in discussion with other connections. It's not you posting and then you go and then you just disappear. No, you have to make yourself social. Just go through some few accounts, comment there, drop a comment. Oh, nice content, great stuff. You don't need to speak much, but engage yourself. Because if you don't do that, you will become like ordinary salesperson who the main important activity for him is just hit and run. Like, this is a thing I want to sell to you. You buy it. Thank you. You buy it. Thank you. Don't make that mistake. You want to keep a relationship-based kind of sell. Okay? So, social selling, it will involve your time, your efforts to engage with your prospects. Engage in terms of discussions. Go to other platforms. Because the moment you comment any other social media, there will also a notification from other users to be engaged in your platform. And that's how you grow your platform. That's why some companies, they are big, but you'll find out their social selling platform is very ugly and it's non-engaging. You put a question there, they took the whole time in the world to answer you. You say, no, we are busy. Yes, you are busy. If you are busy, you can outsource someone to do it. And that's the best thing to do. If you find that social media to take up much of your time, you are lacking control of it, then you can hire someone else to do, because there are people who are doing management of social media account, and they can excel, and the platform can expand more and more. Okay, so make sure that you are connected. Comment with other. And this experience I got when I opened my website. I have two websites. One is called TonyInspirationTalk.com. The other one is msilvana.com. One for entertainment industry and the one for education experience. Now, the number one thing the consultant told me, he said, you now need to drive traffic to your website. And I said, how do I do that? He said, there are two ways. You can pay for it, but it's very inorganic. So you can naturally drive traffic into you. I said, okay, I have money, but I want to learn the other side. How do I do that? He said, you need to involve, to engage yourself with other platforms. So I had to learn to comment on people's page, even though I was a very busy person. I never wanted to involve myself in other people's affairs, but I had to. And I could see the growth. Lakini ukiwa tu mtu wa kutupia, unasepa, unatupia, utashangaa, umetupia engagement, ni watu wawili ndio wamelike, wamecomment, and then you're losing the whole thing. So, nipe nikupe, jaza ujazo, okay? That's how the game is being played. So the other thing that you need to understand, and probably this is the last pillar before we go to Q&A and other discussion, you have to build trusted relationship. Now there are key words here. 3 of them, they're very important. You have to build, and it has to be trusted, and it's a relationship based. Building takes some time, isn't it? It's not a one-thing activity. So, how do you build up a trusted relationship? According to the LinkedIn, you have to provide a genuine conversation and focus on the need of the prospect first, and then the selling is. But we know, we as salespeople, our number one priority is to make a quick sell and to move. So the other thing that you need to understand, and probably this is the last pillar before we go to Q&A and other discussion, you have to build trusted relationship. Now there are key words here. 3 of them, they're very important. You have to build, and it has to be trusted, and it's a relationship based. Building takes some time, isn't it? It's not a one-thing activity. So, how do you build up a trusted relationship? According to the LinkedIn, you have to provide a genuine conversation and focus on the need of the prospect first, and then the selling is. But we know, we as salespeople, our number one priority is to make a quick sell and to move. But what if you go to a doctor? I'll ask you, madam, because you ladies, you go to the doctor very frequently because of the uko na mtoto na nini. We dads don't most of the time. Like, so if I see you at the hospital, not necessarily that's when you are sick, probably extended family and stuff like that. Now, if you go, imagine you're going to the doctor, you're explaining to him that, you see, doctor, last time I never slept so well. There's something that is coming from this side, ending on this side, and then coming back at the back. So, and then the doctor, without even listening too well, he just writes the prescription and say, go. Would you trust that doctor? You see? Of course not. Without even blinking an eye. We love to be listened to, isn't it? We love to be connected. Now, I know there are different kinds of customers. Prospects. There are those prospects, when you talk to them, they talk too much than you do, and you have a number of calls to make. But again, give the attention to listen. Okay? Listen to the experience. If you are in the banking industry, for example, and this client has a bad experience with your company, if you are not careful in listening, taking his concern or her concern, the chances are you'll never make a sale. Never make a sale. So you have to listen. What is it that the client wants to talk about? Now, in this picture, I was with a French ambassador to Tanzania, and I held my own proposition that I wanted to present to him. But see, when I faced him, he began to talk to me about the World Cup. Yes. So we are at the dinner table. I have my own agenda. And the number one thing he's asking me, so which team are you? And it was a table of ambassadors. Like we have Turkish ambassador on this side, Spain ambassador on this side. So there were so many ambassadors. And they said, mind of your answer, because there are so many ambassadors here representing their own country. And we took the social scale at that particular level. So I had to get back to my back file to find which team is going to be neutral on that ground. I said, I'm Brazil, sir, I'm Brazil. At least to put the... Now, I just brought that specifically in order to stir up the discussion, because I saw that was their attention at that particular time. And we discussed football. It was nothing to do with sales. I wanted to present my agenda, but I put it aside first, receiving the agenda from him. And then, from there, I was welcomed. You girls should be the one to know this thing. If a guy approached you straight with the agenda, you will be very skeptical, isn't it? Even more, yeah? Yeah, so you have to learn the game first. And guys knows, they're like pitching a little bit here, and then they go back. And that's how it's the same with the selling. You can just go, pa! No, everything needs to. Are we together? So the same happens to the sales. You have to see how to marinate the conversation in order to drive the point home. Otherwise, you miss the whole point. Okay? And now, why is it relationship is important? Because some people say, no, here's business. Let's kick to the business. Relationship, tuache, wanasema hapa, kazi tu, chakula nyumbani. So we just finish everything here and see. But the LinkedIn research found out that 73% of B2B buyers prefer sales professionals who have been referred by someone they know. It's relationship based. Okay? And also 87% said that they would have a favorable impression of a salesman who was introduced by them through someone in their professional link. See, if you are on the social platform and people referred you to the same social platform, to their networks, the chances are you will win quicker than if you refer yourself. I have seen people who immediately after I accepted their request on LinkedIn or on Facebook, the number one thing they pitch for their business. Hey sir, my name is ABCD. I have this platform that I wanna. I'm like, hey, chill. This is a social media. Let's marinate other things first. And you see the whole experience of referrals, the physical referral, has been shifted to the social experience. One of the things that I do at my office, because I'm quite occupied, and people, they usually ask me for referrals if I'm busy or I'm occupied. They say, who do you prefer, sir? Who can you recommend? And the number one thing that I do, I just pick the social media accounts or the IDs and send to them. I don't send contacts. I just send the social media handler. I say, why don't you contact these people? They can help you. The reason that I'm doing that, because I know the social media account, it will be a self-explanatory kind of referral based, and the information to be provided to them so that they can be comfortable making a transaction. So if I refer you, and they only to find that you have only 2 posts or only 2 publications, it becomes difficult. Okay? It's coming back to where we are. Okay, so as we're winding up, you have to focus on decision makers. Target those, because those who are decision makers, they can quickly help you to move forward. Now, when you deal with a company, know that it's the people who are making decision, not the company. In the traditional sales, we say sell to almost everyone in the company, because you never know how the information is moving. But if you just focus on the high end, the people who are making decisions, then it will save you more time. Now, focus on building relationship with the senior level people at your prospect. Because once they accept you, once they approve of your product, boom, you're done. And this is not magic. Even though there are some people within the organization, there are some key people who, once they recommend you to the top management, you fly. You fly so high. So that's one of the aspects that you need to look into. Last but not least, when it comes to relationship, nurture relationship over time to keep your service top of the mind. Don't be hit and run. Social media or social selling, it will reject you. You have to maintain the relationship. Hello? Simply you have made a transaction with me, it shouldn't be over. It should be the day that you chat with me just for social purposes. Just say, how are you doing today, sir? Nothing else, I was just greeting you. You'll be surprised of how these things works. What if Vodacom today, I don't know which mobile you're operating with, but if you are working with Vodacom, no, you're not working, you're utilizing Vodacom services, and they just say, randomly, one of the days they say, what is your good name again? Kenneth. Say, Mr. Kenneth, we want to wish you a very good day today on your endeavors. Vodacom Tanzania. How would you feel? Good, isn't it? Or you receive from any company or from the MD himself. But you see, all the time, if I see a call or a message from the telecom company, is about them introducing their packages, their services, all the time. But why don't you just say, I wish you a good day? Now, there are some companies who does that. They've collected the database of their birthdays of their clients, and they just send and say, happy birthday. You do that? Or you're about to do? Yes, it's very important. For example, every year, I send an SMS, a bulk SMS, by the way, to all my database. Say, just wish you, thank you for utilizing our service with us this year, and wish you Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. And we are trying now to every big holiday, public holiday, to send them a notification. And that has retained. Remember, it's a bulk SMS. And the bulk SMS comes with my name. And they say, what? Luvanda, we have received an SMS for you. Now I remember I have another gig that I want to give it to you. So it activates the whole thing of business. You don't want to ignore that. This is a very, very important. So make sure that you maintain, because people, they will know when you are fake. So try to be natural as much as possible so that you can hit the sell, because that is where whole thing is happening. Now, just to wrap up, to round it up, I just want to remind you what I told you yesterday, that why should you involve yourself in the social selling? This is what LinkedIn has to say. You will make more sales if you use social selling than traditional selling. That's how things are. And guess what? 45% is increased to increase your opportunities for sale. And I'm the living testimony of that. And you are most likely to hit your quota by 51%. And you will, if you are a salesperson here and you're in the competition or you want to outperform, make sure you learn this art of social selling, because you are most likely by 78% to exceed your quotas, or to exceed to a soul in the company and to become the best sales of the year to your company. Ladies and gentlemen, this is very important. We must embrace this because the numbers speak by themselves. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful introduction. Okay, so my job today is to go on a little bit from what we talked about yesterday. Yesterday we looked at the sales process, and a couple of people came to me afterwards and said, well, that's all very well, but where do I get my customers from? Now, of course, we've looked at all the different ways you can do that on social media over the last couple of days. So what have we got? We've got referrals, we've got walk-ins, we've got warm calling or cold calling. We talked about social media. Much of what you're putting on social media, of course, is advertising. Now, Anthony would argue with that because he will tell you it's social events and you're creating a social relationship, and that's absolutely right. But fundamentally, the mistake that many people make with social media is they just convert it into an advertising platform, and that is wrong. I know that. Nonetheless, I still do it, and I apologize every time I do. So what have we got? We've got advertising, we've got referrals, we've got cold calling, we've got walk-ins. You get new customers from exactly the same places. Networking, referrals, cold calling, walk-ins, phone-ins, click-ins, networking. That's it. So you and your competitors are going out doing the same things in the same way to try and attract new customers to your business. No wonder our customers can see no difference between you and your competitors. We need to be different. We have to differentiate ourselves. You remember I talked yesterday about the price and how important that is to get across the message of value rather than price. The fact is, if you cannot differentiate yourselves from your competitors, they will simply buy the cheapest. And then you have the misconception that your customers only care about price. So we have to learn to differentiate ourselves from our competitors. Which means we have to do things differently. Find new ways of attracting customers to your business. Use lots of different things and more creative ways. And the fact is that half of them won't work. But that doesn't matter. Because if half of them don't work, half of them do. So we discard the ones that don't work, and then we do the ones that do. But don't think that we've discarded those ones forever, because we haven't. Because the things that didn't work last year may well work this year. We're living in a changing world. I can't remember who was it yesterday who put up Darwin's quote about the people who survive are those people. Oh, it was Anthony again. I keep talking about you. The people who survive are those who are most adaptable to change. We live in a changing world. And so the things that didn't work last year may well work this year. Forget about it. When the older salespeople in the room say, oh, don't try that, we tried it before 10 years ago, didn't work. Just ignore them and get on with it and do it again and do it right this time. I just want to pick up a few things. I'm not going to spend long with you this afternoon. You'll be delighted to hear. But I just want to pick up a couple of things on that list, which I think will need to be discussed. Firstly, there is one item on that list which I think is the biggest waste of time for any salesperson. Anybody? What? Cold calling, good man. Cold calling is the biggest waste of time for salespeople. Let me tell you why. And I love to see everybody nodding in the room. I love it. Cold calling is the biggest waste of time. And the reason for that is this. How many people in this room today really enjoy picking up the phone and talking to somebody who doesn't want to talk to them? How many people really enjoy that? By show of hands here? Anybody? No? Yeah, we hate it, don't we? We hate it with a passion. And the problem is, if you don't like doing something, you don't want it to work. Because if it works, you're going to have to do it again. So when you pick up the phone to make a cold call, subconsciously you're thinking, I hope this doesn't work. I hope they just ignore me. Because if it doesn't work, you won't have to do it again. The other reason why cold calling is a waste of time is because we hate it, we tend to put it off, don't we? Don't we? We're told, the boss says, oh, you got to get on the phone. Come on now, we need more customers. Get on the phone, do some cold calling. You've got an hour this morning, do some cold calling. Okay, boss, we say. Sure, no problem. But I'm just going to do this other work first. The things you like to do. So we put off that cold calling, don't we? Then it gets to lunchtime. Damn, I didn't do that cold calling. Never mind, I can do it this afternoon. But I'm just going to do these other things first. And then it gets to 5 o'clock. Oh, no, I didn't do that cold calling. Never mind, I can do it tomorrow. And so we put it off and we put it off and we put it off. And then at the end of the week, when we have to do our sales report, you have to type up and write up what you've done over the last week. And you should do it every day, shouldn't you? Your report for the boss. You've got to do it every day, but you don't. You do it at the end of the week. And so you have your diary open on the screen in front of you, but there's a blank page on Tuesday afternoon. You cannot remember what you did Tuesday afternoon. So what do? On your sales report, you write cold calling all afternoon on your sales report. Keeps the boss happy. You see, cold calling is actually it's a waste of time, but if you convert it, you can make it much, much, much more effective. Cold calling is when you pick up the phone and you have no idea who you're going to be talking to, or you knock on the door and you have no idea who's behind the door. No wonder that fails. We need to convert that, as I've already been instructed here, to warm calling. Warm calling is not cold calling. Warm calling is where you find out as much information as you can about your customer or your prospect in advance of that call. You want to know as much information. So you need to know who owns that company, who is the decision maker, what is his or her secretary's name, what is the receptionist's name actually, how much of your product or service they're likely to want to purchase, who is currently supplying them. Where would you find this information? Anybody? Where do you find this information? Yes, ma'am. LinkedIn, yes, absolutely. First place to go. Social media. Go to LinkedIn, find out, link with them. A few people in the room yesterday linked with me last night. Anybody do that? Put your hands up if you did that. Well done, thank you. I saw yours. Anybody else? There were 4 or 5 people who did. And I thank you for that. And if you want to link with me, that's great. I'll get my social media expert onto it straight away to reply. Okay. So LinkedIn is very powerful. Where else would you find that sort of information? Go to their website. Yes, sir. What were you going to say? Sorry? Google, of course, you Google them. You Google them. We haven't, I don't think, mentioned it today, but one of my favorite tools on Google is Google Alerts. Anybody here know Google Alerts? Yeah? Google Alerts is fantastic for us in selling. Google Alerts. When you want to do business with a company, doesn't matter what company that is, you want to do business with a company, you set up an alert. And you type in that for Google. Of course, it's free. Like most of Google, it's free. You type in there the name of the company that you want information about. And Google will send you a daily or a weekly report on everything that happens through Google in that name. You can Google alert a name. You can Google alert the name of the company. You can Google alert dozens of things. There's no limit to it. So you want to find out information, right up-to-date information. Google will do it for you. Fantastic tool for us in selling, so that when you get face-to-face with a prospect, you can talk about the things that they are talking about today. You can talk in the language that they are using today. It's a fabulous way to keep up to date with what's going on out there. Where else would you find information to turn cold calling into warm calling? Where else? There's lots of other places. You have to be creative. You know what I did when I was a young salesperson, and I'm not proud of this, I have to tell you. But when I was first in selling, I used to take a day off every month. Now bear in mind, this is about 45 years ago. But when I first started in selling, I used to take a day off every month and follow my competitors' delivery vehicles around the town. Amazing what you learn. They knew I was there, but they couldn't do anything about it because I was behind them. And I would see who they delivered to, how much they were delivering. It's amazing what you can find out. They used to get a little bit angry and a little bit threatening, and okay, so I backed off a bit. But so you have to be creative. Now, I'm not recommending you do this. People travel nowadays with perhaps more challenging things than just a fist that was threatened at me with before. I'm not suggesting you should do this, but we need to be creative in the way in which we find out information. The other item I want to pick up on this list is the single most important thing you can ever do in growing your business, and that's referrals. Referrals are so powerful. It was the second one on that list. I think it was the second one we talked about here, the second suggestion on the list. Referrals. Referrals are the single most powerful way to grow your business. If that is true, and now a referral is where one customer gives you the name of somebody else you can be doing business with. If that is that important, I have a simple question for you. What's today? Wednesday. How many people in the room have got one referral this week? Put your hands up, please. One referral this week. Okay, thank you very much. That's because you bought my material yesterday. It's just, you know, it comes and goes. One, all right. What about last week? Who's had one referral last week? Okay, 6 last week. 6 last week? Anybody? 6 last week? Did you? Oh, well done, well done. What about the others in the room? What about 6 last month? 6 since Christmas. 6 since last Christmas. You see, the problem is this. We know how important referrals are, don't we? Referrals, you see, are not a cold call or a warm call. A referral is a friend of a friend. And a close friend too, because who else would give you the name if there wasn't a close friend? So it's a friend of a friend. Referrals are very powerful. And what we need to be doing is growing our business through referrals. The fact is this. Every single one of your customers knows somebody else you could be doing business with. True? Yeah? Every single one. All you have to do is find out the name of that somebody else, and you can double the number of people you're in contact with overnight. Double the number of people, as we talked about yesterday. Double the prospects, you're going to double your closed sales. So how would you find out the name of that somebody else? What could you do? Anybody? How would you find out the name of that somebody else? This is not a difficult question. You ask. Yeah, you ask. I told you it's not a difficult question. You ask. At the end of every meeting with every customer, you ask the big question. And the big question is this. Just before I go, John, do you know of anybody else who could be benefiting from our superb service or our wonderful products? You ask. Get into the habit of asking. You see, there's no downside to that question. You know the question we use at the end of the sale, do you want to buy? There's a downside to that because they might say no. But here, there's no downside to it. If you ask and the customer says, no, I don't know of anybody, you've lost nothing. But if you ask, there's a good chance that they will come up with somebody. Did you want to ask? Not at all. Not at all. People love to help you. If they think that the service that you've given them, they will love to help you. You just get it. It's not a desperate thing at all. So you ask. For finding referrals, you ask. You ask at the end of every meeting. You ask at the end of every phone call. You ask that question. You never miss the opportunity to ask that question. But there are a number of other things you could be doing to grow your business through referrals. There's something called the 5-card trick. The 5-card trick is not a trick at all. It's a technique that will help you grow referrals. And so that 5-card trick is very simple. We, at the end of a meeting with a good customer, somebody you've got a good relationship with, at the end of that meeting, you just say to them, just before I go, John, do you have a couple of minutes? I'd like to try something with you. Now, if you've got a good relationship with them, and you don't have to call them John, I call everybody John, because I'm from London. Everybody in London is John. It makes life so much easier. In any event, Andy's nodding there. Yeah, everybody in London is called John, yeah. And so, yeah, you say to him, just before I go, do you have a couple of minutes? He said, sure. So then you take out of your briefcase 5 blank white index cards and you lay them on the table in front of you. Don't tell him what you're doing yet. Just lay those index cards on the table in front of you. And then you say to him, John, if you had my job for a week, who would be the first 4 people that you would call on? So the customer, now if you've got a good relationship with the customer, he's going to give that some thought. If you had my job, who would be the first 4 or 5 people you would call on? Now this is a useful question in selling. Getting the customer to put himself in your position is something we do a lot. We do that to close the sale sometimes. We do it to find out how they would solve their objections. If you were me, Mr. Customer, how would you solve this problem? And here we are, we're getting referrals in that way. If you had my job, who would be the first 5 people you would call on? So he was going to give that some thought. I don't know, maybe Fred. I'd give Fred a call. So you write Fred's name down on that first white index card. Who else would you call on? I don't know, Johan maybe? So you write Johan's name down on the next card. You've got 5 cards laid out there, so you're letting him know, we really need 5 names, please. And when he's getting bored, you stop. Even if you've only got 3 names, that's fine, you don't need more. But if he's still enjoying the game, and you make a game of it, if he's still enjoying the game, you can go to the next stage. And the next stage is to say to him, and John, if you did have my job for a week, who'd be the first person you'd call on? And he'd say, oh, I know, that would be Fred. Fred Smith, good prospect for you, Fred, he'd say. And then you say, I'll tell you what, now you have got my job, won't you do me a favor? Won't you give Fred a call for me? See if he's available this afternoon, maybe 3 o'clock, because I'd love to pop round if he's free. You see what you're doing now? You're getting your customers to make appointments for you with your prospects. This is brilliant. It's a wonderful thing because, you know, when you go and see your new prospect, Fred Smith, in the afternoon, you're not going as a cold call, you're going as a friend of a friend. And a close friend too, because who else would make appointments for you? I have tried this 5-card trick literally hundreds of times, and it never lets me down. Never, ever lets me down. Now, of all the things that I talk about in my training, this is one of the few things that people, when they try it, they email me and say, Richard, this is brilliant. It worked for me over and over again. I want you to try it and then email me and tell me how clever it is. It's not my idea. It was somebody else's idea years ago. It doesn't matter whose idea it is. You let me know how it works for you. Because I tell you what, it's fundamentally grow your business. So referrals, very important. Bring referrals to your customers. Don't just expect to get them all the time. If they're in business and they probably want new customers to deal with as well. Or you could trade referrals. You give me 5 of yours, I'll give you 5 of mine. If you're in that sort of business, doesn't work for me now, but it used to. But the fundamental challenge here is to make sure that we also reward referrals. We cannot just get a referral and forget about it. We get the referral, we follow it up, and then we go back to the original customer that gave us the referral and say, thank you very much, here's a small gift. And give them a little gift. In my trade, we get referrals very often. When I can't do a gig in somewhere or other, I will refer it to a friend. And the friends refer it to me. I had a referral from a friend last year. I got the gig, so I sent him a bottle of Johnnie Walker Blue Label, because I happen to know he likes that. And the really cool thing about Johnnie Walker Blue Label is that nobody ever opens it. Have you noticed that? You know, it's so expensive, it sits in their lounge on the top there, and people say, oh, that's nice, do you drink? No, for a special occasion, you know. And that introduces the subject of where they got it from. The only time I've ever known a bottle of Blue Label to be opened is when we were in a bar of a friend of mine and we'd had far too much. And then by the time you've had far too much, you don't care about whether you open it or not. I'm not very proud of that evening either, but it was fun. So they tell me. So reward referrals, also very important. Finally, and one last thing to remember is this, that salespeople are target-driven. We are driven by targets. If you want to grow your business through referrals, then set yourself up some targets, a weekly goal for referrals. Now, what I want you to do now, as we come down towards the end of this session, this brief session, I want you to write down on a piece of paper a number. A number. And the number is, how many referrals do you think you could get in a week? Bearing in mind that every one of your customers knows somebody else you could be doing business with. And all you have to do is ask them for the name of that somebody else to get a referral. How many referrals do you think you could get in a week? And write that number down on a piece of paper in a big number and circle it. Write it down on a piece of paper, on your notepad there, doesn't matter, not a scrap of paper, on your pad there, write it down. This is a commitment you're making. Write it, not on a scrap of paper. Write it down, you're making a commitment. How many referrals do you think you could get in a week? We set targets for referrals, but we put a prize on it. A nice prize, a flat screen TV or something like that. A nice prize. And then we say for the next 2 weeks, go out and see how many referrals you can get. Now, I do this often. A company I was working with at the beginning of the year, they sell buttons. Now, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but they sell billions of buttons and other clothing fixtures and fittings. And the lady who won the prize brought back in 2 weeks 302 referrals. 302 referrals, qualified, unique referrals. Think how much business that would be. Now, the other guys in the sales team all thought they'd won because they all got more than 100. So, when you write down 2, 4, 6, or 8, or 10, if you actually apply yourself, you could bring in huge numbers of referrals. Referrals are the single most powerful way to grow your business. Doesn't matter what business you're in. You will bring Anthony back, and he can talk about targeted referrals. Oh, he's popped out now. Targeted referrals on LinkedIn. You don't just wait for them to come to you. You target people, and then you link to somebody who's linked to them. Targeted referrals, but that's another conversation altogether. If you apply these principles, these simple principles, this is not challenging. Apply the simple principles, you will get many more customers, which is going to make you very happy. And then you're going to grow your business, which is going to make your boss very happy. And then you're going to want to come back and listen to me speak again, which is going to make me very happy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Karibu mheshimiwa.
Nashukuru sana. Jamani, kampuni haiendi vizuri. Mwaka jana tumeshindwa kabisa kufikia malengo tuliyoweka. Hata momentum ya timu imepungua sana. Naomba tupate ufumbuzi wa hili kwa sababu sitaki tufeli tena mwaka huu.
Mheshimiwa, mimi nina wazo. Nafikiri wafanyakazi wote tunahitaji training ili tuongeze mauzo kwa asilimia zaidi ya 40, ufanisi wa kazi na momentum ya management.
Okay, nafikiri ni wazo zuri.
Baada ya kufahamu dunia inataka nini, Mikono Speakers International tumejitokeza kuokoa makampuni mengi kwa kuanzisha utaratibu wa kutoa mafunzo katika makampuni na taasisi mbalimbali ili kuwawezesha wafanyakazi na kampuni kwa ujumla kuendana na kasi ya sasa na mapinduzi ya viwanda. Mikono Speakers International tunatoa mafunzo ya aina zote, tailor-made training na mafunzo yanayoendana na kalenda yetu, aina zote za technical na management training. Wasiliana nasi kwa 0717 109 362 au email sales@excel.co.tz. Mikono Speakers, join hands to transform life.